This episode of Untold Stories is sponsored by PowerSwap. You'll hear more about them later on in this episode. What is up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to the show. But this is Untold Stories, and I'm your host, Charlie Shrem. And together, we get to dive deep with some of crypto's most influential leaders to truly understand how this movement came to be, where we are right now, where we're going, and what we've been really doing well. If you go back and look at some of the older episodes going from 2019 into 2021, the things we talked about with the people we talked about it with have really, it's so truly amazing to see, like a year ago, how crazy things have become. But we have an opportunity to talk to someone today to really understand a project that is trying to do one of the hardest things to do and build a community from ground up. Because if we can understand how they're doing it, what is going on in the whole world of bad bears, I think we can, in a larger way, understand how this whole industry is going to affect the macro world in the next 5 years. Tony Marchuk. Tony, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on Untold Stories today.
Thanks, Charlie. It's absolutely an honor to be here. I've been following your podcast for months now, and the quality of people that you have on your podcast is absolutely mind blowing. And so I'm honored that you invited me to jump on and talk about our stuff.
Thank you. Everyone who's ever come on this show has always ended up being an amazing guest. You don't really see bad episodes because I'm a good podcaster. What can I say? I'm just joking.
Yes, you are.
Tony, you're a decade-long serial entrepreneur specializing in product development, software, and the user experience. You've been working on user experience for over 10 years in digital marketing, where you supported daily operations on tons of different software projects. And over the last year or so, you and your team have developed this experiment in fixed supply NFT-centric economics called Bad Bears. I've had the opportunity to watch you from the ground up, kind of building this closed loop market, the journey to Beartopia, where folks can mint their own bad bears and join this metaverse with one of a kind communities, bear DAOs, but really like a culture. You're creating a new culture for people to join. And I really want to understand that. I want to understand, give us the background of the team and the origins of where it all came from and why you decided to pursue this.
It's a really interesting story. So just a little bit of background on me. I'm always thinking about the user experience. What does the person on the other end of the screen going through? What are they thinking about? And what's their experience with using the thing that I build or my team builds? And is it a good experience? Are they having a good time? So I consider myself relatively new to crypto. I jumped in about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, really getting plugged in. I was exposed probably 8 years ago, and it was still too early for me at the time. But
just goes to show you how early we are in this whole crypto world.
Yeah, exactly. I think anybody that really dives into crypto receives an education that can oftentimes be very expensive. Especially when you jump into decentralized finance, into DeFi, and you start looking at the projects that are out there, decent projects, shit coins, if I can say that. And I received my education over the course of a couple months. It was pretty expensive, but I learned a lot, and it was absolutely worth it. Essentially, what got me into developing my own stuff is I had a couple bad experiences with a couple launches and that kind of thing. And I sat down with my friends and my team. I think we were having a beer at a local restaurant here. And we looked at all of our skill sets and what everybody could offer. And we were like, we could do this ourselves. And we could do this so much better than how a ton of other people are doing it.
Yeah, of course.
And so we fired up a token last year. And that was an experiment with our skill set and and what we could build.
Kind of having fun with it and seeing where it goes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's, personally, that's what I'm all about. Like if it's not fun, I really can't do it. And experimenting with something new and fresh and different and trying different things than what other people are doing. That's one of the most exciting things for me.
I think a lot of people forget that is that what got a lot of people in before even Bitcoin had a value was that it was fun and you were joining a community of people that wanted to have fun with you, kind of like breaking finance and changing the world. And now you see that in the world of non fungible tokens and the metaverse and tokenization is that, hey, you want to have fun, but you also know that what you're doing is going to be the future and it's absolutely changing the world because the Bad Bears community of today is the future DAOs that run cities.
Yeah. And just like you said, it all started as an experiment. Bitcoin started as an experiment. Look where it's at now. It's created this entire new industry called crypto, and then NFTs. And so I think everybody here is really innovating hard and trying new things and failing and succeeding and that kind of thing. So it's fun. It's fun if you're an entrepreneur.
Up until now, everything that's happening in the crypto world has just been on this like ERC-20 standard and its equivalent on all other blockchains. And you have the fungible token, one of 1 billion, but one token doesn't differentiate from another. In the whole ICO world in 2017, 2018, we had the opportunity to experiment with tokens and seeing what you can do and what you can't do with them. And what came out of that was a bunch of different standards, but the new token standard, which is ERC-721, you are operating 100% fully like Bad Bears operate on that NFT standard and its equivalents on other blockchains. Do you think that the 721 standard will be like the de facto for maybe all tokens in the future? And what kind of like smart contract things can you do that you couldn't do with tokens before? Like you were showing me a serum before. Now you can drop serums on top of bad bears to produce bad cubs and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I love when people ask me to explain what NFTs are, and I explain from my perspective, and they still don't get it because it's so different and it's so complex. It's like imagine you owned a Picasso, and but that Picasso didn't just hang on your wall. That Picasso, gave you access to a community, or it allowed you to vote on specific initiatives, or it generated a passive yield for you. The idea that you can actually code functionality into art or into this thing that you own is absolutely insane.
You said something very, very big there. You said, imagine if you owned a Picasso and you can join a community for initiatives. That hits the nail right. That hits the hammer right on the head of the nail because right there, that is what is so important about the NFT community. I used a similar analogy to explain, you know, we're used to these communities. For decades, we've been using message boards and forums, and we've gone to find out the nichiest and weirdest community of online people that do and like the same things as us. And we found like we can breathe deep. Like I used to find it in the gray hat coding worlds of a decade ago, and you probably found it in whatever world. And my friend of mine locally loves Ferrari, so he's in a big Ferrari community for over 10 years. And you know, you could be part of communities of collectibles. You can do, but there was no way for you in a decentralized way, without a centralized party, for those communities to have initiatives together, to grow those communities, to bring other people in, to enhance the quality of life for those communities. It seems like it's such a basic evolution, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's again, the crazy part is the fact that, I mean, not only can you program functionality into this piece, you can continue to build on it and expand on it. Imagine this Picasso. You probably wouldn't want the Picasso itself to change over time, but let's say you did. Let's say that the creators decided to open up a little digital merch store, and you could toss on a pair of glasses. That they, I don't know, they partnered with I don't know, Gucci or something to design this this an exclusive pair, and you can now attach that to your, to that piece. So it's just crazy what you can really do with it. And I really think that we've really only touched the surface. Like there's going to be so much that is going to be developing in the NFT space with the functionality behind these pieces that we really don't know what it's going to look like.
So the Bad Bear community has been around now for a while, since we're getting up to the point of the Bad Bear Mint, where there'll be only 5,555 Bad Bears. So the community's already there and strong. What type of people are joining this community? What do they want out of Beartopia? And what type of like relationships will they kind of all have with each other? And kind of where do you see this in 5 months from now, 6 months from now?
The initial draw to Bad Bears is the art, itself. Every single piece, every single bear from the collection of the 5,555 is completely unique, and the arrangement of the variants, the fur type, the accessories, the background, the headwear, all this stuff. The bear looks like it has a personality and it has a story.
But it's not just, but the art is where it just starts, right? It's not just about that. Those attributes define the future of your cubs and your journey in this kind of world.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. So I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can really see it with the glare, but so this is one variation. This is the brown bear. It's got the face tats and the Punisher bear shirt. We reference quite a bit of pop culture,
Oh yeah,
kind of elements. Look over here, you've got the Squid Games kind of jacket. There's 218, there's 001, and there's 456, which are kind of like the main characters.
I minted 3, so I'm excited to see. I pre-minted
Nice.
3, so I'm excited to see what they look like.
That's awesome. We got a lot of inspiration from fashion as well.
Oh, that's like a Gucci jacket type of thing.
Exactly.
That's a
Gucci
great
monologue.
bear.
Yeah, and also we have some pretty intense variants as well. So they're bad bears, so they have to really kind of live up to their name. There's a ton of these variants, and every single one that I've seen has been just absolutely beautiful. So that's kind of the first thing that draws people in, and then they jump on the website and they see, oh, this isn't just art. This isn't just a profile picture I can attach. This actually has some value, and they start to look at the passive yield that these bears generate. And with the passive yield, it's very interesting because a lot of the things that we're doing with the token, with MSK, is very, very different than what other NFT passive yield projects are doing. First and foremost, we launched our token before the NFT. And for the pre-sale round, the pre-mint round, we wanted to create a bit of a barrier to entry to actually get in. So
exclusivity, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And kind of what that does is, yes, it's annoying and it's going to turn off some people. But what it also forces people to do is, if there's enough interest, they're going to educate themselves about what they need to do to get in. And so they're going to scour the website, the social media, jump in the Discord. Now they're invested. They're personally invested with their time. Now they have this bank of knowledge in their head about this project. And so what we require people to do to get into pre-mint round, into the pre-sale, is to hold 50,000 MSK tokens, which is it's a tiny amount. I think it's maybe like $70 right now or something. It's been really amazing for the value of the token and the chart. And so other NFT projects don't do that. So they typically launch their token like well after. So
sure, yeah. That makes sense, because we talk a lot on the show about like the path to decentralization, and having a healthy decentralized community includes a lot of metrics. In traditional like blockchains, you're looking at like transaction count, node count, dispersion. Is it a distributed system or is it a fully decentralized system? We're looking at does it use validators, master nodes? What are the relationships between master nodes? Who is we talk about on the show a lot, are block generation events done at random, or is it a pre-selected kind of like selector, which a lot of blockchains use? So the metrics in the NFT communities are very similar because you need to have people are your nodes, essentially. So people and the super followers, the pre-minters, the ones that are part of the community before there's any value to anything, the ones who create the value, these are like the nodes. These are your miners. These is proof of brain, if you will. Do you think NFTs is how most people will get introduced to crypto nowadays?
I really think so, yes, because tokens, like, why do you get into tokens? I mean, like, why do you invest in tokens? It's usually to make money. It's not, it's either to make money or to transfer money somewhere. To
it's got a
exchange
very
that.
financial relation.
Exactly.
There's always even with software and tokens, there's token economics implies like you have to have an economics team in your tech company, dealing with this stuff. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's financial. Whereas with NFTs, it's visual. It's very stimulating, and you can also own like something very, very unique for yourself. And yeah, to answer your question, I do think that NFTs are going to be the gateway into the crypto economy for the majority of people. And it already is. It already is. I mean, you see like celebrities buying up, like Bored Apes, for example. Justin Bieber just picked one up. The list goes on. Eminem just picked one up. So it's.
I got a free NFT for going to the Tampa Bucks game last week. I got an email saying, but I don't even know what blockchain it's on or how to redeem it. I think there's a big problem right now because not all NFTs are created on Ethereum. You have like Solana, Polygon, Terra, so many of these other ones now where you're seeing probably missing a few. So there's definitely a problem with that, and definitely the user experience needs to get better. I'm sure you agree, because like you guys have chosen Ethereum, which is the largest and the biggest. I think 80% of NFTs are still happening on Ethereum, but that's gonna change because of throughput and things like that. Is this something that the DAO or the Treasury would put forward as an initiative to create more like trust chain compatibility? Or am I like in the tech world too much? Will the DAOs want to like put Bad Bears on like, the roof of a stadium so all the airplanes can see it when they fly over or something like that? That's actually a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I really believe that, especially in the NFT world, because a big part of the huge spike in gas costs over the last couple months is because of NFTs. Because it takes more work to process. But the fault actually lies in the developers. The fault lies in the developers, because typically when you go to mint an NFT from a project, it will cost you a minimum of $100, $150, $200 in gas to mint, a single one. And what we've done with our contract is it's costing us between $15 to $25 to mint one. One user actually told us that he was able to mint 5 at a time for $30. That really is,
oh wow,
like unheard of in the NFT space. And it's like I'm not a professional developer. I mean, I've got a great team, but I really think that developers need to be thinking about the user experience more, and think about how to optimize their contracts and pull out functions they really don't need to to reduce those gas costs.
I'm
That's going to
actually
be
trying to
attractive.
go look. I want to see what I paid. Okay, yeah, I paid $30 something to mint 3 of them. Wow, that's unbelievable.
$10 a mint is what that turned out to be.
So how did you do that?
To be completely honest, I'm not the developer that worked on it. That's my team. And when I asked them about it, they essentially said that they pulled out a few functions from there that they really didn't need. And that's it. Like, it really was not that complicated. They just took the extra step
Yeah.
to think about the user, on the other end and try to improve that experience for them. And like it was kind of unexpected, for everybody to have gas prices that low, but but having this kind of this ethos of thinking about the person on the other end, thinking about the community and the people that will be a part of what it is that you're building is what created that for us.
Sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled programming, but I wanted to tell you guys that if you're using PancakeSwap, Uniswap, DYDX, SushiSwap, you're doing it wrong. You need to be using PowerSwap because PowerSwap is a user interface, a decentralized smart contract platform that sits on top of all of these. And when you go to PowerSwap or untoldstories.link/PowerSwap, because they're refunding your gas, if you go there, then you'll be able to, on top of Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon, look for the best prices for your tokens and swap and do everything in one predefined transaction on chain. Instead of having to do the approval to this token, to that token, to do all these different things, PowerSwap does it all for you. It's decentralized. They just released their API version 5 that you can see everything. It's all open source. Very cool stuff. Untoldstories.link/PowerSwap. If you're using any of the other decentralized protocols, you're doing it wrong because you need to be using the routing, beautiful PowerSwap routing system, and it's fully decentralized too. It's gorgeous. I'll talk to you guys soon. What does this community look like to you now? And do you have any advice for people that are building their own? Like, what challenges have you faced?
I would definitely say the biggest thing that you can do, this is I feel like this is very obvious, but
Yeah.
take care of your people, be plugged in, talk to them, be real. And every single night we're doing AMAs, we're talking to our community, and they love to see the person, on the other end. And every single one of us founders is completely doxxed. Our pictures, our real names, our bios, our social media is on the website, on Discord. Everybody knows who we are, and that really brings like a nice human element to it. So it's the community that we have is absolutely in love with everything that we're doing, and we also involve them in the decision making process. We call it the Bad DAO,
The
and
Bad DAO.
currently it's a voting system. And we like 2 days ago we presented the option to our DAO of partially revealing the bears that they hold, partially revealing, because everybody was just very excited to see their bears, because the minting process is we mint out and it's a pre-reveal image on OpenSea until we mint out and then we reveal. But I could sense that people were like just I don't know, getting angsty.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay,
I like
put
that.
it to a vote. So we created a vote where we kind of outlined the options and created a thread within that, and people just discussed the pros and cons of whether or not to reveal. And people initially wanted to reveal, but then they changed their vote to no. And that was just an absolutely mind-blowing experience for me to see the community discuss the project and make a decision like this together, kind of like unanimously. And that's kind of the power of the DAO. And currently it's in our Discord, in our community, but we're going to build out a DAO on our app as well, on our dashboard, that essentially the number of bears that you hold, that's how many votes you have. And so you've got this basically this like city called Beartopia, which is what we call it. And there's 5,555 citizens in there. And each one has a vote in the direction of what to explore and what to build, in Beartopia. And I think letting your community feel like they're actually a critical part of building this is one of the most rewarding things for them.
Beartopia. 5,000. I guess
yeah.
that's so. I'm trying to figure out what happens if you become a victim of your own success. Whereas like the DAO and Beartopia like kind of like moves away from you and the team, because
Mhm.
as it becomes more successful, the holders in the DAO may want to take their own directions, or like it'll play out the way that things play out. That's the way humans in the world works. And there's going to be like decentralization. Is that, you have this roadmap and your thoughts. What would be the relationship there? I mean, you guys are all holding Bad Bear. So of course you have a say in that. And I guess that's the relationship there. But isn't it fun to kind of sit and think about if that would have happened? Like it would almost be something that you'd be happy about because you would like the community graduates from you.
That's, I think, one of the most appealing things about the DAO is, you know, so our team, the founders, the team, the moderators, designers, developers, it's a group of about 20 to 25 of us. And combined, we're a powerhouse. But now imagine that we have 5,000 other people that are educated about this project, the roadmap, and probably know more than we do in some areas, and they're probably more articulate, and that kind of thing. And now you've got this brain of 5,000 individuals discussing what to do. And like what that does for us as the team is it actually really, really takes the load off of us because there's a lot of back and forth that has to happen before making a big decision. But if you let the community kind of take care of that, and they really want to, it takes the load off of us, and also it brings fresh perspectives to the table.
I love fresh perspectives. Do you think that the Bad Bear community is going to be like, I guess I'm trying to think in my head where this will be in 6 months from now, in a year from now. Beartopia and the whole world of Bad Bears. I mean, what's your vision for that?
Sure. Yeah. So I can paint you a picture. So Bad Bears public mint is on Thursday. And a few weeks after that, we're going to release our first drop from Bear Labs. And Bear Labs is our kind of like innovation factory that we create like serums, and viruses can escape out of there, crazy tech that you can apply to your bear. And only bears can purchase stuff from Bear Labs with the MSK token. So the bad cubs are going to be sort of like a sidekick to the bad bear, and they're going to have this multiplier effect on the amount of MSK that it generates. And that's the first kind of add-on utility that we're going to be releasing. And over the next 6 months, we plan to release a total of 3 to 5 different drops like this that you can apply to your bear that will have different functionality. So the multiplier with the bad cubs is one. We're going to create metaverse-ready versions of your bear that will take the traits that you have and turn it into that 3D version that you can plug into Decentraland or
That's so
or
cool.
just Sandbox. And so we're really building out this kind of digital world, this digital environment where your bad bear is kind of the locus of power, and an MSK token is the exchange of value to get more out of this world.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at, honestly, the goal here is to make it fun and exciting for the community. And so, like, we're looking at potentially partnering with A-list artists and fashion designers to create different accessories and like bodywear, like headwear that you can apply to your bear. And it's going to be limited runs. You purchase it in MSK and you can apply it to your bear, to the NFT itself, make it change. So that's kind of the vision over the next 6 months. Also, we want to expand into the IRL, the real life versions of the bad bears, and that includes stuff like parties, different merch that you can only buy if you have a bad bear.
Like
And
unique
also,
bear merch. Like I can put my bear like as like get a this is my that's
yeah,
the beautiful that's my bear. So it's like I'm signifying that I'm part of a unique community. This is mine, but I'm part of this bad bear community.
exactly. Yeah. So it's it'll be stuff like the particular bear that you own. There are going to be different uh, I don't know, caps, like sweaters and shirts that only you can purchase. It'll have your bear on there, or over here or something like that, but only
That's
you
so
can
cool.
purchase it because you own that bear. And that kind of plays into like commercial rights and like ownership of these bears. So if you own it, you could do whatever the hell you want with it. Kind of like a Bored Ape. With a Bored Ape, if you
How
wanted to, you
unique
could
is
set it
that?
as your company logo,
Yeah.
and you know,
Like your bad bear could become your company logo. That's the whole
yes,
point. Like there's no need for company logos or the bad bear becomes your family's insignia. And it's like now and you own the commercial rights to it. I mean, you talk about Gucci and things like that. You can make relationships with that where for very limited amount of time, you pay MSK and you can have a Gucci, you know, jacket made with your unique bad bear on it. I mean, that's a one of one. But what happens is that becomes valuable to your NFT now because now there's a jacket that exists for my bad bear with the unique made by Gucci. So if I would ever sell that bad bear, that could create the value to it too. You see how this kind of cycles through and it creates like it's the online communities of tomorrow. Could type this as the name of the show if we wanted to. It's so unique.
yeah, exactly. And it's I mean, what's happening with the metaverse and with NFTs is people are embodying these digital identities, and representing themselves as that in the online world. And why are they doing that? Because IRL is great. It's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do here, but it's not very scalable. Especially when it comes to your identity. Whereas in the metaverse, with NFTs, you can really represent yourself in a way that is impossible in IRL, right?
You could
Like,
scale your identity.
what's that?
You can scale your identity.
Exactly. Yeah. It's visually stimulating, it's mentally stimulating, and it's interesting. There's just so much more you can do in the metaverse, in digital. And I think the combination of NFT, and the metaverse is what is going to be something that people will find themselves kind of being addicted to because it's going to be so much cooler than IRL. And it is a scary future to think of because we don't know what it's going to look like. Are people going to be huddled in a corner of their room, with their VR headset and not eating for days? I don't want that.
Well, competition's is a good thing, and maybe for a little bit, that's what it may look like. You kind of see that now at the family dinner table. Not everyone's on their phones or whatever, and you have to make an initiative to not be, like in the digital world. But maybe that just creates more competition for the IRL world. Haven't you noticed the world has gotten more beautiful? Well, we live in a beautiful place, but the world has gotten more beautiful. Or maybe we're noticing it more. Maybe we're paying attention to it more. Mind, body, spirit, soul. People care about that stuff. If you ask someone about their spirituality 10 years ago, they look at you like, what? About your mental health. No one can talk about mental health 10 years ago. That was so taboo. Now it's on commercials on TV and on, you see Better Help is doing NFL commercials because that's okay if you need someone to help you with some of the mental challenges you're going through today. That's perfectly fine. So that's the world that we're in, and we want to scale our identity. Dude, you hit the nail right on the head. Like this is a masterclass on NFTs. If someone wants to understand why this is the future and how it has value. Tony Marchuk, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on Untold Stories. Scaling our identities. I mean, that's what it is. We're growing ourselves. We've been locked in this box forever. And now we can get out of that and truly understand and learn who we really are and how we want to be. I'm very excited to follow the community and to be part of it myself and my wife and all of my friends. So thank you so much for coming on Untold Stories today.
Absolutely, brother.